Hey everybody, it's Marty Walzer, otherwise known as the Raging Owlbear on social media. And I'm going to try to do a quick video today. I haven't done one in a little bit. I really need to keep up with it. But I found some cool stuff online that I wanted to share with everybody because I was looking at some terrain options. There's a lot of Kickstarters going on, and as you know, Dwarven Forge is often running things, and I'm actually looking forward to some stuff that's about to be fulfilled. But I needed some cheap options because Dwarven Forge is a little bit on the expensive side, as beautiful as it is. But I need some town pieces, and I do have a little bit of Dwarven Forge City, but not enough to really make a big town. And I found these other pieces online recently. And I had actually posted on Twitter about them, and I decided to pick a couple of them up because I put a sort of a price alert on Amazon. So if they went on sale or whatever, came down in price a little bit, I'd just go ahead and get them. And these things are pretty cool. So let me tell you about them. There's a company that's it comes up on Amazon a lot, but they're like a Russian company or something in Eastern Europe. But if you search for Karanova Clever Paper, and I'll have some links down below, they have these really great medieval village pieces, but they looked a little bit small for what I wanted. But as I said, I put a price alert and they came down pretty cheaply. So I decided to pick a couple up just to see how they looked on the table, and they're actually pretty good. So let me show you the first one. This was they have like a bakery shop kind of thing, and this is the cardboard sort of 3D paper puzzle that came. Now, normally these things from Karanova, they're called Clever Paper models. They run usually from $15 to $20 roughly, and so for me that's still a little bit high for something that may not see the table super often. But again, I put a price alert, and I got them right about $12.50 a piece, and so that I thought was probably worth the price of admission. And I'm pretty satisfied with the way they look. They're actually, there's this sort of Tudor styling on the bakery. There's another house, or the attached home next to it. But the nice thing about these is these are also sort of meant to be sort of play sets for young kids. So these actually open up, and so there's a little bit of interior space, which is kind of cool. Now note, it is a little bit small for D&D miniatures, but not so small that it's terrible. Like, I wouldn't necessarily use the interior space for a fight, but the exterior is honestly pretty fantastic. And so if we take your typical town guard guy, so here's your guard, crossbow guy. Certain people on social media really hate this guy. So I decided to pull him out for this video. Just as a little insider joke. But as you'll notice, if you put him like right on the threshold, okay, so he's a little bit taller than the door frame, but honestly, from a scale perspective, it's really close. It's close enough that, honestly, if you put a bunch of these paper models out on the table and you throw some minis around them, people will be like, wow, that looks pretty cool. They're not going to be worried about, oh, he's a little too tall. Now, granted, that does mean that you won't be able to use, well, he does fit a little bit on the interior. So, maybe not on the upstairs unless he ducks. But you're not really intending to run battles on the interior unit. The whole idea is to get these for, and they're nice models. I mean, like, you have the Wattle and Daub, the Tudor style on this side. There's stonework on this particular piece, and then so these are two houses together. This is the bakery set. I got another one. Let me get that. There's a weaver set too. This one's pretty nice. And again, scale-wise, a little bit small, but not actually too bad at all. And this one doesn't really have an interior. You can kind of open up the roof for some stuff, but the rest of it, it's kind of, once you put it together, there's really not much playability in terms of the inside. in case you want to get them for your kids too. But again, these are really nice scale wise, and they look pretty cool on the table. And I'm gonna put some pictures on the blog so you guys can see what they look like, because if you do have something like Dwarven Forge, whoops, sorry, a little bit of camera shake. If you do have something like Dwarven Forge, well, you can see the Dwarven Forge looks pretty chunky next to it. I mean, the Dwarven Forge is solid. It's built big. So, if you put this stuff next to the Dwarven Forge, it might look a little bit hinky because it's a little bit too small. But if you're using some paper models, which I talked about in the previous video of mine, there's some paper models from Wizards of the Coast, some paper models from Dave Graffam Arts, some other stuff, some other companies like that. They actually don't do too badly. They still look a little bit small and scale wise, but when they're sitting back on the table and they're a few feet away from you, it actually mixes really nicely. And again, I'll put some pictures on the blog and link to it below so that you can see, these actually look great if you build some of those paper models that are free on the web. Now again, these were $12.50 each, so I got this one for $12, this one for $12. So the two together for $25, give or take, free shipping. And most of the other models again are $15 to $20. A couple of them are a little bit more than $20 for the larger models, but and the scale is a little bit small, but they're really, really quite nice. So the trick is again, get one of those apps or software things that does like an Amazon price alert. Mark your threshold below $15 or whatever. So when they come down, you can pick a few of these up for cheap, and you've got yourself a little village for not a lot of money. The other kind of nice thing about these actually is these sets come with little townsfolk too, little papercraft townsfolk. And let me grab one here. They are actually pretty nicely matched up with the miniature scale. If we put these guys together right next to each other, they're pretty much equivalent. This guy, there's now a couple of the paper models are a little bit smaller in terms of scale. It depends upon the pose and the little people in them, but oops, that's the backs. That's kind of nice that there's front and back, and these are the ladies doing their work at the weaver shop or whatever, and the merchant guy and crossbow guy, and this dude who's shearing the sheep, and they even come with there's like a couple town guards and a couple other people. So there's actually a really decent array of townsfolk. The weaving cottage, it's mostly, it's a medieval village, so there's a little bit of a inbuilt sexism. It's all women doing the weaving type work. But there's, a couple guys of the merchants and the town guard and stuff like that. Oh, sorry about the camera shake more. And this one also comes with a little bit wider variety of the minis for the bakery and tavern or whatever the thing next door is supposed to be. But it's great. It comes with about a dozen townsfolk. Each set maybe has 6 townsfolk and a couple of horsemen. So it's a really nice way to build out a village. And, these papercraft minis are perfectly fine for throwing out townsfolk, NPCs. These are actually really nice. I was pleasantly surprised by what you get in one of these sets. And again, if you have the Dwarven Forge, it does look a little bit funny. But if you're just using the paper models, if you're just using the papercraft off of the internet, or something else that's, again, there's a whole array of these cardboard models. So if you put price alerts on a lot of them, you pick several of them up, pick 4 or 5 of them up for between $50, $75, maybe get 6 or 7. Then you'll have a nice little, small village with townsfolk and all kinds of things for fairly cheap. It depends on, how you define cheap. Again, $12. I think this is a decent deal, especially given that it comes with a bunch of 25 to 30 millimeter tall townsfolk. There is another tavern that's actually significantly larger than these. It's well, I don't know significantly, but it feels a little bit chunkier, more like the Dwarven Forge, because it's a 3-story building and it's hunky, and it usually goes for right around $20. I'm gonna wait until that one comes down a few dollars in price, maybe pick it up, because that one looks nice because it's big and hunkier. You know, it's a little bit more like this, where it's got a really like a wider surface area. You know, this one's still kind of narrow on the edges, but it's, you know, wide in the front and back. And the nice thing about this is because this does fold out, you can kind of place it on the table like this, and makes it look, you know, with this side facing your players, and it makes it look larger because, you know, you have the hollow backside, of course. You know, like this, it's fairly small. You know, open it up, and you got a nice little sort of city block going there, and, you know, and put this guy over here, and before you know it, you got yourself a little town with just you know, maybe $50 worth of investment. So that's pretty much it. They're called Carinova Clever Paper. I'm not, you know, getting anything for advertising them. And actually, you know, oh yeah, you know, they're again from somewhere in Eastern Europe. I think this is Russian. I'm not 100% positive, but looks Russian. And I think there actually is a picture of not on this one. There's a picture of the tavern here in comparison to some of the others. So you can kind of see the tavern nestled in there. So you can see it's a little bit larger than, here's the bakery that I got on this side, and the other one. And the tavern is a little bit chunkier than the others if you look closely. But again, that one's closer to $20. I decided to wait till that one goes on sale before picking it up. But these are a nice little option for building a small village. And, you know, if you're using mostly papercraft on the table and you don't have a lot of fancier 3D printed stuff, or Dwarven Forge, or something that you bought from Miniature Building Authority, you know, for those of you who are spending a little bit more money, yes, these sort of paper ones are not going to look as nice next to something that's more expensive. But if all of you got on your table is paper already, these are great. And, you know, again, because they have just these little options of folding out, and, you know, this one's got a little nice, you know, sort of effect, a narrow end, this sort of turreted stairwell. You know, they're great. These are cool products. I'm going to put a link. You know, if you can, go ahead and use my links to if you want to purchase some of them, use the links so I don't, you know, so I get a little bit of a Amazon referral or something like that, just for, you know, if you like them, you know. So if you really like them, just give me a little kickback. I mean, it's a few cents on the dollar at most, but it's just a nice little bonus to have for people to buy these minis and other things I find on Amazon to support the blog and support the channel. So I'm Marty Walser, Raging Owlbear. Please like and subscribe, and, you know, check out these paper models, because they might look really good on your D&D table, and they're fairly cheap. I think that's pretty much all of it for tonight. I even went on a little bit longer than I should have, but I will see you again soon, hopefully. And please like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. That's Raging Owlbear on Twitter as well. So see you next time.